According to Wikipedia, Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment operation that pays return to separate investors from their own money or money paid by subsequent investors rather than from any actual profit earned. Me, Abdulkarim Ozi Suleiman, traveled to Obodo Oyibo to bring una the history of Ponzi scheme. Tag Black Friday. Black Friday, also referred to as the gold panic of 1869. On September 24, 1869, two speculators, Jay Gould and his partner James Fist, attempted to corner the gold market on the New York Gold Exchange by winning the trust and using the credibility of President Ulysses S. Grant as the means to deceive unsuspecting investors. Before Charles Ponzi, in 1899, Williams 520% Millers opened for business as Franklin Syndicate in Brooklyn, New York. Miller promised 10% a week interest and exploited some of the main theme of Ponzi scheme, such as customary investing the interest they made. He defrauded buyers out of $1 million and was sentenced to jail for 10 years. Toward the end of 1910, a man calling himself Lucien Riviere arrived in Paris and set up a small private bank in the Avenue de Opera, offering to pay investors 1% per day interest. He soon had so many clients that he was forced to take much larger premises in the place Bourdieu, opposite the Opera Comique. Several months later, when the authorities grew suspicious, he fled the country. French police mounted a large-scale operation to discover both his true identity and his present whereabouts. He was in fact Charles Devil Well, who had broken the bank at Monte Carlo some 20 years previous. He was found to have defrauded 6,000 investors out of approximately 2 million francs. Charles Ponzi, in 1920 in Boston, his supposed arbitrage scheme was just a masquerade for paying off early investors with the deposit of later investors. The Ponzi scheme is named for him. He claimed he will double investors' money in 90 days through a bizarre plan to buy and resell international postal reply coupon. Ponzi collected more than $8 million from about 30,000 investors in just 7 months. He served 5 years in jail for using the mail to defraud. Between 1970 and 1984 in Portugal, Dona Branca maintained a scheme that paid 10% monthly interest. In 1988, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison. She always claimed that she was only trying to help the poor, but in her trial, it was proven that she had received almost 120 US dollars. In January 1984, Andrea Newwald started the so-called Kubu scheme with an apparent beauty product in South Africa. Subscribers to the scheme bought a supposedly biological substance called an activator that was used to grow culture in milk. After growing for a week or two, the cultures were harvested and dried and sold back to the scheme. The culture were never used for a beauty product, but were simply grounded and resold to further investors as an activator. MMM was a Russian company that perpetrated one of the world's largest Ponzi scheme of all time. By different estimates, from 5 to 40 million people lost up to $10 billion. The company started attracting money from private investors promising annual return of up to 1000%. It is unclear that whether a Ponzi scheme was the initial intention, as such extravagant return might have been possible during the Russian hyperinflation in such commerce as import-export. In 2003, the Security Exchange Commission shut down a $1 billion scheme by Mutual Benefit Company in Florida, run by Peter Lombardi, affected 28,000 investors. Mutual claimed it used the money to pay viatical settlement to HIV patients. Lombardi is now serving a 20 years prison sentence. Too many to mention. As a kid, we all dreamt of getting rich quick without working hard. We will imagine that someone will give us $1 million, and some of us carry this daydream into adulthood, and unfortunately convincing people take advantage of this. Nigeria is a Ponzi scheme that originated in Russia that has now set up in Nigeria. As earlier defined, Wikipedia said the company was involved in one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in 1990s. It was estimated that thousands of people lost up to $10 billion. Was founded by Malvodi and Ogla Melnikova in 1989 after a rapid growth, but it all came crashing in 1994 when the police shut down for tax evasion. At this point, the company owed its investors $50 million to $1.5 billion from the aftermath. 50 of the investor committed suicide. 15 years later, established an office in South Africa using the same business model. The company claimed investors will get a 30% per month dividend via a social financial network. Like Zumarok, in January 2016, landed in Nigeria. A Ponzi scheme, according to Wikipedia, as earlier said, is a form of fraud in which belief in success of a non-existent enterprises is fostered by the payment of quick returns to the first investors from money invested by later investors. Global Zimbabwe has already crashed despite Zimbabwe's National Reserve Bank telling its citizens not to sign up to the Ponzi scheme. Sometimes ago, in Zimbabwe had stopped withdrawals. In South Africa, crashed in May 2016. The company claimed it was a media panic and said it was starting over. In January 2016, the Chinese government banned because it is a Ponzi scheme. A business with such shaky structure has seemingly attracted many Nigerians, with individuals putting up to 1 million naira into the system despite the central bank government warning people not to invest in it. There are people who swear that is legit and not a scam. Judging from the company's dark history, what will you say about
But I like to skip that people do invest in, and after a while they get almost 50% or 30% of what they invest in.
Are Nigerians easily forget the past? Can't we remember the likes of Maria Moses, which took away some millions from Nigerians? Trim was also one in the news sometimes ago. Command Claim was another scheme that promised to pay 30,000 monthly to those that registered with 25,000 naira for the rest of their life. The owner of command claimed to have invented a particular product for Shell long ago, which will earn him $1 from each barrel of crude oil lifted from Nigeria, which he said will be too much for him to spend and decide to help the poor Nigerians, but later found out to be a Ponzi scheme. Why do Nigerians still believe in them?
Actually, not that I really believed in MMS. Someone introduced me to it, and as we all know, life is a risk, so I decided to take the risk, and I took the risk, and the risk was a good one. Our lifestyle benefited from it.
Well, I can't really say, but first of all, I think one of the reasons is because some people are kind of lazy. So they feel, okay, if I should invest my money and then have 30% or 40% of what I invest in a particular time, it's okay for me. I don't really need to go out and work. And then because of the economic situation of the country, some people invest in all these schemes to try to meet up to the standard of living. Because of the economy is harsh, so they invest in it to get more money,
to get quick return.
Yes, to get quick return, and then to help them meet up with us with ends meet because of the economy. But I think one of the major reasons is because people don't want to work, and people just want, I don't know, easy money. Because Nigerians want easy money.
So banza kowe. It's all lies on this. But one surprising thing is that if the central bank will come out to advise Nigerians not to invest in this, shows the Nigerian government knows about it. What are they doing to save the citizen from them? Is there no law that can stop this? Knowing that the law is one of our problems, the Olofofos tools are not left out. My Obodo Naija people, let's stop this get rich quick thing and work to get rich. Èmi náà ni ọmọ Kenny Abdulkarim Odusule.